I didn't even get a warning. No slow burn. No little signs that creep up like shadows under a door. It hit me like a gunshot. That night, I got home from a business trip earlier than expected. The house was too quiet. You know that type of quiet that doesn't feel empty, just wrong? I headed upstairs, suitcase in hand, heart starting to thud like a slow drum against my ribs. That's when I saw it. In my own damn bedroom. The same one where I married my promises to Emily. She stood there, half-dressed, flushed, whispering into her phone like a teenager sneaking around. When she saw me, she didn't even flinch. She didn't panic, didn't cry, didn't try to hide anything. She just stared me dead in the eye and said it, cold as hell. Accept the new reality and come to terms with my infidelity. My AP will be taking your place. She said it like she was reading a damn weather forecast. No guilt, no shame, just this raw, disgusting arrogance pouring off her like cheap perfume. My mind blanked. For a full minute, all I could do was stand there, suitcase slipping from my hand, thudding onto the carpet. I stared at her, at Emily, the woman I'd spent 10 years building a life with, wondering if maybe I'd walked into a parallel universe where up was down and betrayal was just normal. But she wasn't done. Emily tilted her head, all fake sweetness, and added, "You'll get used to it, babe. Just swallow your pride. He's better for me. You should be happy for me." I wish I could tell you I exploded right then, that I screamed, smashed something, made the walls shake with the force of my rage. But no, I just felt hollow, like someone had reached inside and scooped everything out. Love, trust, every stupid little memory we built, and left this aching vacuum behind. And she stood there, brushing her hair back like she was preparing for a date, not wrecking her husband's soul in real time. That was the moment it started. The unraveling. The moment I knew my life was about to burn down, and that she'd be the one lighting the matches with a smile. I slept in my car that night. I couldn't even bear to be under the same roof. Every time I closed my eyes, all I saw was her smirking face, that smug little tilt of her head, like I was the fool for expecting loyalty. The cold leather seats bit into my skin, but the anger boiling inside me kept me warm enough. Around 3 a.m., I unlocked my phone, just out of pure desperation. I needed something. Maybe a text, maybe a clue that this was some messed up nightmare and she hadn't really meant it. Instead, I found everything. She hadn't even bothered to hide it. Her cloud account was still linked to mine, our little family sharing thing. Cute, right? Only now it was the highway straight into hell. Photos, messages, voice notes, all from a guy named Tyler. Some nobody with a flashy car and an Instagram feed full of flexing muscles and rented yachts. Every message was filthier than the last, filled with promises, with plans, with sneers about me. When are you dumping that loser? Can't believe he still thinks you're loyal, babe. I love marking you as mine when you come back to him smelling like me. I swear, my hands shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. The worst part? She encouraged it, fed it, sent back selfies from my own house, lounging on my bed, wearing the necklace I bought her for our anniversary. I don't even know how long I sat there, scrolling and scrolling, drowning in a flood of betrayal that just wouldn't stop. I saw dates, times, realizing how many nights she'd come home late, kissed me goodnight with his taste still on her lips. I was nothing but her convenient little fallback. At 6 a.m., I finally dragged myself out of the car and walked back into the house. I didn't care about being quiet. I slammed the door open, each step heavy, deliberate, daring her to face me like a real human being. She was in the kitchen, wearing my hoodie like some kind of twisted joke, sipping coffee, scrolling through her phone like it was just another morning. Like she hadn't just set our marriage on fire hours earlier. She looked up, gave me this lazy, fake smile. "Morning, babe. Coffee." I didn't say anything. I just tossed her phone across the counter toward her. It landed with a sharp crack. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she smirked and said, "You went snooping, didn't you? That's so pathetic, Nick. You're making this harder on yourself." Her voice had no shame in it, no regret, just that disgusting smugness, like I should apologize to her for having feelings. That's when I realized she wasn't sorry. She wasn't going to beg for forgiveness. She wasn't going to fight for us. She wanted me humiliated, crushed, erased, and standing there, heart bleeding out onto the kitchen floor, I realized something even darker. She was enjoying it. I should have walked away. Any sane man would have. But something inside me, something bruised and boiling, needed to hear it from her lips. Needed her to say it out loud. To make it real, even if it tore me apart. So that's it, I said, voice low, almost unrecognizable. You're just throwing us away for some gym rat with a leased Audi? Emily didn't even look up from her coffee. She swirled it around like she was trying to find the cream at the bottom. Then, finally, she sighed like I was the burden, like this whole mess was my fault for not catching on sooner. You were boring, Nick, she said, setting the mug down with a little clink. Safe. Predictable. I needed more. Tyler makes me feel alive. You? You just made me feel stuck. The words landed like punches, each one knocking the air out of my lungs. I gave you everything, I said, laughing bitterly. My time, my love, my ***king loyalty. And you needed more? She shrugged, like it wasn't even worth arguing. You made it too easy. You worshipped me. Where's the thrill in that? There was this moment, a tiny, burning second, where I wanted to reach across the counter and shake her, to force her to see what she was doing. But I didn't. I stood there, fists clenched, teeth grinding together so hard my jaw ached. You think he's going to love you? I asked. You think you're special to him? Emily's smile curled cruelly. I don't need him to love me, Nick. I just need him to keep me entertained. And trust me, he's doing a hell of a better job at that than you ever did. For a heartbeat, the world tilted. It felt like the kitchen, the house, the ground under my feet. All of it was shattering into pieces too small to ever put back together. I hope you choke on your entertainment, I muttered, grabbing my keys. As I turned to leave, she called after me, voice syrupy sweet. Don't be dramatic, babe. Stay. Watch. Maybe you'll learn something. I froze with my hand on the doorknob. Was she serious? Was she that far gone? That twisted? I turned around slowly, heart pounding so hard it made my vision blur. That's when I saw him. Tyler. Standing in the hallway. Shirtless, grinning like a wolf who just got into the hen house. He tossed me a lazy salute, like I was some sad janitor getting replaced by the new boss. You'll get used to it, man, he said. She's better when she's not pretending to be a good girl. Emily laughed, an ugly, sharp sound that didn't sound anything like the woman I married. And me? I just walked out the door, feeling like my whole soul was bleeding out of me with every step. But it wasn't over. Not even close. I don't even remember driving. I blinked and somehow ended up sitting in a diner parking lot a few miles from home, staring blankly out the windshield. It was raining, that thin, miserable drizzle that makes the whole world look like it's crying. I sat there, breathing shallow, mind spinning. I felt stripped, skinned alive. Every minute that passed, my brain replayed it. Her smirk, his laugh, the sound of my own heart breaking right there in front of them. I wanted to scream. I wanted to punch something until my fists broke. I wanted to forget her. But mostly, I just wanted answers. Real ones. Not her smug half-truths. Not her insults wrapped in silk. I grabbed my phone and called her best friend, Jessica. If anyone knew the full story, it was her. Jessica had always been the quiet one, the sidekick, the keeper of secrets. She answered after 2 rings. Her voice was tight, nervous. Nick, I didn't expect you to call. How long? I asked, skipping the small talk. My voice was dead, flat. How long has she been screwing him? Silence. A car passed in the background on her end, tires hissing on wet pavement. Nick, you don't want to know. I already know. I need the damn timeline. Jessica sighed, and I could hear the guilt dripping off her words. Since last Christmas, she whispered. She met him at her company party. They hooked up in the bathroom. She said it was just a mistake at first, but it didn't stop. She didn't want to stop. My stomach twisted so violently I thought I might be sick. Christmas. We had spent Christmas at my parents' house, where she smiled, laughed, kissed me under the mistletoe, with his hands still fresh on her. And you helped her lie to me, I said. No accusation. Just a fact. A cold stone dropping into dark water. Jessica started crying, but I hung up before she could offer some pathetic excuse. I didn't care about her guilt. I didn't care about anyone's guilt. I sat there gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. The rain pounded harder, drumming against the roof like 1,000 tiny fists. Since Christmas. That meant every trip she took for work, every late meeting, every girls' night, was a lie. She hadn't just cheated on me. She'd made a lifestyle out of it. And I was the fool who brought her coffee in bed afterward. The idiot who kissed her goodnight. The blind moron who thought love could survive without loyalty. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was spiritual. It was nuclear. And the worst part? I still loved her. Some stupid, shattered part of me still wanted to believe this could be salvaged. That maybe if I fought harder, did more, proved I was better, she'd realize what she was throwing away. But deep down, under all the hurt, under all the rage, I knew better. There was no coming back from this. I wasn't enough for her. I never had been. And she didn't deserve a man who would have given her the world. She deserved the wreckage she had chosen. I didn't go home that night. I drove aimlessly, watching the rain smear the lights of the city into blurry streaks. At some point, I ended up at a cheap motel, the kind of place you don't ask questions in. I paid cash, took the key, and threw myself onto the sagging mattress like a man finally giving up on breathing. But I couldn't sleep. I couldn't shut my brain off. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, laughing, moaning, lying, betraying. Like a movie reel I couldn't escape. By 4 a.m., I wasn't thinking straight. I wasn't thinking at all. I just wanted it to end. The ache, the humiliation, the crushing weight sitting on my chest. But then, something shifted inside me. I wasn't going to be the victim. Not anymore. If she wanted war, I'd give her war. I started going through every file, every email, every document we had together. Bank accounts, property deeds, insurance policies. I wasn't about to just walk away and let her and her tattooed gym toy ride off into the sunset with my money. Funny thing was, the deeper I dug, the more rot I found. Hidden credit cards I didn't know about. Trips she took that she told me were girls' weekends, but the charges told a different story. Luxury hotels, spa packages, gifts for him, paid for with my hard work. I felt something in me snap. Not loud, not violent. Quiet, like a rope giving way after too much strain. She hadn't just broken my heart. She'd been draining me dry like a leech for months. I wasn't dealing with a lost wife anymore. I was dealing with a parasite wearing her face. The next morning, I went home. The rain had stopped, but everything still smelled like wet asphalt and broken promises. I found her in the living room, sprawled out on the couch, laughing at something on her phone. Barefoot, comfortable, like she owned the world. She didn't even look up when I walked in. "You're back," she said casually. "Took you long enough to sulk." No apology, no remorse, not even curiosity about where I'd been. She didn't care. Not about me. Not about what she did. Not even about what was coming. I stood there for a moment, just watching her. The woman I once thought was my soulmate. Now just a stranger in my skin. "I talked to a lawyer," I said finally. Her head snapped up. I caught the flicker of panic before she masked it with a sneer. "You're being dramatic, Nick," she said, rolling her eyes. "You're not going to leave. You're too weak." I smiled, a cold, thin thing that didn't reach my eyes. "We'll see." Her face twisted. She didn't like that. She liked me beaten down, begging. She didn't know what to do with a man who was done playing nice. "You're pathetic," she spat, standing up. "No wonder Tyler laughs at you. You're a joke, Nick. Always have been." I didn't flinch. "You'll be laughing out of a cardboard box when I'm done," I said calmly. "Hope he's ready to support you, Emily. Because this ride, it's over." For the first time in weeks, I felt lighter. Still broken. Still bleeding inside. But free. I turned and walked upstairs, her insults chasing me like pathetic little arrows that couldn't pierce skin anymore. She didn't realize yet. She still thought she could win. But I was about to rip her comfortable little world apart, brick by lying brick. I barely slept that night. Not because of the pain. That was already burned into me, a permanent scar. I stayed awake planning, calculating, sharpening every edge she thought she dulled in me. By morning, I had a strategy. No screaming matches. No childish revenge. I was going to bleed her out legally, financially, emotionally, the same way she had bled me without blinking. First, I canceled all the joint cards. Then I pulled the records of the house, my house, bought 3 years before we married, titled only under my name. Next, I transferred my direct deposit to a new private account. She was about to find out what independence felt like without my wallet propping up her fake life. At noon, I walked into the house while she was in the middle of a FaceTime call. I knew it was Tyler on the other end. I recognized the arrogant laugh even through the wall. She didn't hear me come in. Didn't notice me standing in the doorway, listening to her gush about how soon she'd be moving in with him, about how she was milking the divorce for everything. You should see Nick's face, she was saying, giggling like a schoolgirl. He's crushed. It's hilarious. I swear, he'll probably give me half just to get rid of me. That's when I walked into her view. She froze, phone slipping a little in her hand. Tyler's dumb grin dropped the second he saw me standing there, arms crossed, perfectly calm. I said nothing, just walked over to the table and dropped a thick envelope in front of her. Inside, the divorce papers, pre-signed by me, with terms that left her with nothing. No house, no alimony, no car, nothing but the clothes she came with. She snatched them up with shaking hands, flipping through the pages, her face turning redder with every line she read. You can't do this, she hissed. You can't just leave me with nothing. I leaned in, lowering my voice to a whisper that sliced sharper than any scream could. You cheated. You lied. You humiliated me. Now you live with your choices. She tried to throw the papers at me. They fluttered to the floor like dead leaves. You'll regret this, Nick, she spat. You're nothing without me. I laughed, genuinely, for the first time in weeks. Emily, I said, backing toward the door. I was nothing because of you. As I left, I heard Tyler barking at her through the phone, angry now that the gravy train had just derailed. I didn't look back. Didn't need to. The queen had lost her throne, and the kingdom she tried to steal from me was burning down around her, one glorious ember at a time. The first week after I served the papers, it was strangely quiet. No screaming texts. No late-night calls. No fake apologies. I thought maybe, just maybe, Emily had finally accepted that she lost. I started picking up the pieces of my life. Moved into a small apartment downtown. Started lifting weights again. Cut my hair short, like I used to before she insisted I look more mature. I even went out with a few friends I hadn't seen in years. People she'd isolated me from without me even realizing. For the first time in a long damn time, I could breathe. But it didn't last. One evening, just as the sun was dying behind the city skyline, I found her waiting outside my building. Perched on the hood of my car, legs crossed, sunglasses on like some washed-up diva, still pretending the cameras cared. She slid off the car when she saw me, gave me that old fake smile. Nick, baby, she purred, voice like poison wrapped in honey. Let's not be stupid. We're better together. I almost laughed in her face. Almost. Instead, I just watched her, really watched her, and saw it for what it was. She wasn't there because she missed me. She was there because Tyler had dumped her. Because life outside my shadow was colder than she thought. You chose your reality, I said quietly. Now you live in it. Her face cracked. The mask slipped, and for a moment I saw the real Emily, desperate, grasping, rotting under the pretty surface. You'll regret this, she spat, stepping closer. I'll make sure of it. I didn't flinch. You already were my biggest regret. I turned my back on her for the last time and walked into my building. Left her standing there, furious and powerless, nothing more than a bad memory in a cheap dress. Upstairs, I poured a drink, sat on my balcony, and watched the night swallow her. For the first time in months, I smiled without bitterness, without pain. I realized something then, something deep, something important. You don't lose when someone betrays you. You lose when you let that betrayal define you. And me? I wasn't hers to define anymore. If I had any advice to give another man standing where I once stood, it would be this. Don't chase her. Don't fight for someone who laughs while stabbing you in the heart. Walk away. Heal. Rebuild. And when she comes crawling back, because they always do, make sure the only thing she finds is your dust. Because some people, no matter how much you love them, only ever deserve the door. And some love stories are better left dead.